The Genesis Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
We're talking to an American who happens to be Hispanic, ran from Texas. In fact, I wanted to refresh my memory today, so I did about 30 minutes of research. Jose Antonio Navarro, known as the father of the first Texas Constitution, Hispanic. More than 30 of the people that died at the Alamo, Hispanic. What the media is doing is robbing Hispanic Americans of their heritage. And again, when I was in public school, America's bad, Texas is bad, all these lies, all these distortions. And, of course, there's racist white people and bad stuff that they've done. I stand against them. The point is, Mexico has triple the resources of the United States, conservatively. Oil, gold, timber, the land, the fertile soil. They have more billionaires than the U.S. does, but the poorest population. And what you've got is this Mexican elite teamed up with the globalists that love to use racial division because they don't want 30-plus million illegals that come here to learn about the Second Amendment and private property. That's why the big universities are teaching them communism. And I played a clip last hour of a Hispanic teacher in California with his students up there saying, whites are devils, we're going to get them, we're communists, we're taking over. But he tells the truth. He says, whites don't dislike us because we're brown. They dislike us because we're communists. Well, why would you want to be a communist? I love the fictional character Tony Montana. He doesn't like communism or slavery. But Rand brought up the term, it's porcho or rotten fruit or the Hispanic Uncle Tom. How are you an Uncle Tom if you want to own your own property and not have an El Jefe shaking your family down for money? Or because you own a firearm, which you can't do in Mexico. This is so elementary. Again, the new film Machete coming out, Robert Rodriguez says the border we didn't cross the border, it crossed us. They cut to all these white actors, Robert De Niro, Don Johnson saying racist things about Mexicans. Again, false flagging white people. And then it shows Mexicans with machetes killing the gringos and killing the Border Patrol. I mean, this is revolutionary, and this mirrors the real stuff, the fire bombings in Santa Cruz, the murders, the white ranchers being killed in South Texas and Arizona. I mean, this is real. And so what they're doing is trying to radicalize Hispanic Americans, and maybe it is for a long-term plan because they don't want to have more Hispanics in America. Maybe it's meant to shut it down later. I don't know. This is very sophisticated. But when Robert Rodriguez's people contacted me, people inside his organization saying, we're really worried about this film, it's going to be a backlash against Hispanics. Well, I mean, you can tell why, because it dovetails with all of this racist garbage that's being spewed out here. Rand, for stations that just joined us, some stations don't carry that first 5-minute segment. Recap what you went through as a Hispanic American who saw himself as an American, because the last lady was saying the same thing for her. She sees herself as a pro-property rights, Second Amendment Hispanic American, and so her own daughter is coming against her saying, you got to join the Raza. Go ahead, sir.
Wow, Alex, I just want to state again, growing up in South Texas, actually north central Texas, I went through that persecution. Basically, Mexican people asked me, well, what part of Mexico are you from? When I said, well, I'm an American, they basically took that as an insult and called me a pocho. And pocho, I said, what is a pocho? They said, well, a pocho is basically a white boy. I guess, well, if that's the title you give me, I guess that's what it is, just because I am American. I don't have any roots in Mexico. I have nothing against the Mexican people. I have nothing against Mexican people being here legally, paying their taxes just like I do. What we need to realize out there, folks, is that we need to stand together as Hispanos or Tejanos and all over the nation, as Hispanic Americans, stand up together and fight the globalists and what's really going on.
What did you think of me playing that clip of that? Because I could play countless clips of them saying, we're going to have communism, we're going to get the gringos, we're going to kick them out, they're scum. I mean, that is going to take white people, believe me, who on average, I'd say 95% are not racist towards Hispanics. That's going to make them start, I mean, that's going to really be a backlash.
I agree with you 100%. It's already happening out there, and people need to realize this and see through the lies and what's going on. and Hispanics should come together again, like I say, and educate those Mexicanos or people that are out there that don't know. Or
listen, I would vote for Hispanic Americans all day long, just like I did Deborah Medina. If they're pro-Second Amendment and sovereignty, all I've got is my republic. All I've got is those rights that are so special that nobody else has got. Does that mean America's perfect? No, because we're violating that. But, I mean, to hear them saying communism is good, to hear them saying this, and it's just, it is so evil. Rand, I appreciate your call. God bless you. It buoys my heart to hear you saying this. That's why we're only taking calls from Hispanics to get their view. I mean, if you agree with what these folks are saying, I'm telling you, though, the illegitimate government is behind this. Texican in Texas, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex, good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you.
Last time I saw you was at End of Fed here in Dallas, and I really wanted to go say hi to you, but there's so many people around you. But anyway, my opinion is, I'm from here. I was, born in South Texas, raised in Corpus Christi, and gringos we all got along with each other. I don't see how. I guess it was the illegals because they're kind of separated. They don't live in the same middle-class neighborhoods as the rest of us.
Exactly. No, they want us all fighting with each other. I mean, think of the illegal aliens at that San Francisco school who kicked out Hispanics. It was Hispanics wearing American flags. Those Hispanics want to be Americans, and the Mexicans are up here intimidating them.
Absolutely. In fact, when I was a kid, I was telling a story about that the other day at the bar while I was talking to some people about this very same subject. And I had a shirt that my mom put an American flag on it. And I remember, Mrs. Welsh, explaining to me the colors of the flag and what they represented. And, my dad was a World War II Korean War guy. 3 Purple Hearts, Silver Star, Bronze Star, clearly decorated. My son is an Air Force officer currently serving. He's against the war. He's pro-Ron Paul, Somos Tejanos. We love our culture. We love our music. We love our food,
Well, listen, I love your culture, too. That's what's so sickening about this. I wish Mexico was free. I mean, I might retire down there.
Well, they should have just taken it when they had the chance. We paid them for the Southwest. I mean, Texas, we outright fought them for it. I mean, that's how long my family's been here on both sides, just like the caller before me.
I looked the number up. I was having an argument with my dad this morning, and he said, no, half of the people in the war for Texas were Hispanic. And I said, I thought it was a third. I went and looked it up. At least a half were Hispanic. They don't teach that. They don't want people to feel like they belong here.
Jose Antonio Navarro was one of the founders of the Constitution. When I found that out when I was living in San Antonio, and then I found out, then we had De Zavala was our vice president, right?
Yes.
So we had Houston. So we got along, okay? And you can ask my mother, she's from Karn City down in the country, and she's not with us anymore. But back in the old days, she said, hey, all the gringos spoke Spanish. Everybody got along.
Everybody was intermarrying, too.
People were doing that. People just like now, just like you go anywhere else, maybe the blacks had it harder than us, but... I mean, look, everybody's had a
Look, nothing was perfect. There was discrimination. But you go down to Mexico, no matter who you are, and try to set something up, you're going to get discriminated against. That's tribalism. But I've really studied this history, and I agree with you. That's what's so sick about this, Texican, is that, do you agree with me, though, that the federal government is injecting this because they're scared of these new Hispanics whose culture fits into our republic actually becoming what they would call right-wing?
Well, this government is completely corrupt, and it's just, like you said, it's not even our government anymore. I mean, why do you think my son wants to get out of the Air Force? He just doesn't. Everybody knows.
Exactly. People say, why do you support America? It's got all these wars and is evil. My America died when they killed Kennedy. That's really the mark. 1963 in Dallas, Texas. That's when the republic started dying. I want my republic back, and I want my neighbors to be whatever color they want. I just want them to be pro-freedom. I mean, my God, why did our country have half the wealth in the world with 4% of the population? Because we had more liberty. Liberty creates wealth. God bless you, Texican. I'm going to go fast to Raul, Bob, David, George, Joe, Ralph, and others. And again, this is what most Hispanics from my study are for. Freedom, liberty, the Second Amendment, private property. But the mainstream media is trying to make Mexicans anybody that has a Mexican heritage feel like they got to be part of this.